Please be seated. Right Honorable Sarah Kuongolo Amadhila, Prime Minister of the Republic of Namibia, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Works and Transport, John Mutorwa, Honorable Cabinet members present, Honorable Deputy Ministers present, members of the Diplomatic Corps, senior officers of the Namibian Defense Force, senior officers of the Namibian Police Force, honorable governors present, honorable councillors present, executive directors of ministries present, Mr. Salomo Hay, the chairperson of the NSA board members of the Namibia Statistics Agency, Mr. Alex Shimwafeni, members of various offices, ministries, and agencies, captains of industries, distinguished guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. My name is Ipumbu Sakaria. I'm part of the corporate communication team of the Namibia Statistics Agency. My duty today is the simplest of all. It is really just to stand here and guide you through the program. For me to start that, I would like to call upon Ms. Otilia Mwazi, our Deputy Statistician General, to give us all a welcome. Madam Mwazi, please come to the floor.
Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Namibia, Madam Sarah Kuongolo Amadhila, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Mutorwa, all ministers present, deputy ministers present here today, all governors present, all senior officials, allow me to stand on the protocol already observed by the Director of Ceremonies. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the launch of the preliminary report of the 2023 Population and Housing Census. It is with great pleasure and excitement that we gather here today to unveil the initial insights and findings from the long-awaited massive data collection undertaking in Namibia. That is 2023 Census. It's really, indeed, a big milestone, not only for the NSA, but for the Namibia at large. Ladies and gentlemen, at one point, we were even not sure whether we are going to do this census. It was on and off, it's like a toggle switch, but we never gave up hope. And then really the result for that was really because COVID was upon us, and then we have also to compete for the resources. So it has also impacted, but finally we are here today. We are so excited, so enjoy the moment with us. The census stands as a cornerstone of our nation's statistical landscape, offering a comprehensive snapshot of our population, its characteristics, and the socio-economic dynamics shaping our society. Conducted once a decade, it serves as a vital instrument, critical important data for data-driven decision-making processes, and then also critical for development planning as we manage and measure our national and regional development strategies. The 2023 census represents a collaborative effort involving countless individuals, from dedicated enumerators. I call them our statistical foot soldiers. Those are the enumerators who knocked at every door when we were doing the census. And then they were supervised and guided by our regional statisticians. They are also here. A special welcome for them. They have done a great job. As the enumerators who have navigated every corner of our vast land of the communities and then also the communities who graciously opened their doors to participate in the census counting. Their collective contributions and commitment have laid the foundation for the statistical insights we are about to unveil today. The census preliminary report provides provisional basic population and household statistics. That is, we are going to be able to give you the population size. I think that's the number which everybody's waiting for. The age-sex distribution, population growth, and density, as well as household size, and also the concentration of the residential structures. If you remember from the mapping, we visited each and every structure in Namibia. So we have the database for that. That also comes with the census. The census basic main report will be released later this year, and then that will give more details, information on demographic and socioeconomic characteristics of the population. So what we are going to give you is just like a starter, but we're going to give you the main course later at the end of the year. We are hard at work to ensure that happens. As we navigate through the pages of this preliminary report, let us do with a sense of purpose and responsibility. Let us recognize the power of data to illuminate pathways towards progress and also to amplify the voices of those whose stories are often overlooked. These are the people, special populations, special groups in our neighborhoods, in our communities, which we normally forget. Ladies and gentlemen, the census data addresses the leave no one behind notion, because census data will optimize resource planning and then also allocation of resources where they are most needed. And then the main purpose is really to improve the public service delivery. To all of you, feel welcome as we go for this launch. And then feel welcome so that, and then also invite everyone to join the discussions. This is the statistical product that we should all use to make informed decisions as we build a brighter and more prosperous future for all Namibians. Ladies and gentlemen, it is argued that data-driven decisions are better decisions. I repeat that. Data-driven decisions are better decisions. So I urge everybody so that let us make use of what is going to be unveiled today. With that, I thank you. Feel free, and then enjoy the launch.
Yeah, I think she needs another round of applause, please. All right, I must inform you of something that's quite significant. We are, as you can see, the full house and the seriousness of all of us present here. We appreciate the presence of our Right Honorable Prime Minister. We had, unfortunately, you'll notice that she will speak a bit sooner than later. It's just simply because she is overwhelmed with work and other equally important matters, but she has decided that come hell or high waters, she is going to be present or going to be part of us when we release the data. She might not be there at that specific moment, but irrespective of everything on her schedule, she says, even if it just takes me 10 minutes to be with my people, I shall do so. So that's why you'll see her early in the program. We appreciate that, Right Honorable Prime Minister. Deputy Prime Minister, we also appreciate your presence here. So for us to move forward, we are going to call upon Dr. Isaac Nema. Dr. Isaac Nema has been the census manager, but he's also generally responsible for quality assurance and NSS coordination. Dr. Nema, please come to the fore.
Thank you very much. Ipumbo Sakaria, Director of Ceremony. I think my task is simpler than yours because I think you have to keep us entertained. Me, I just have to take you through what we have done. That's how simple it is. Right Honorable Prime Minister, Deputy Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of Works and Transport. Allow me to stand by the protocol as observed by the Director of Ceremony. My task is really just to take you through the census journey. How did we get to where we are today? Before we start, I just want to dedicate this presentation to our late President, His Excellency. He has been there with us as NSA through thick and thin. I remember even before he became a minister, he was very much adamant on statistical production and make sure that NSA did well. And also when he became the president, he was very much adamant, and this is why you see that the Harambee Prosperity Plan was based on statistics. There was regular reports, statistical briefing. So I dedicated this to him, and may his legacy lives on as we continue to prosper. Our journey started in way back before 2019, but I just want to take a brief overview from the year 2019. This is really the year when we started with what we call the census mapping. Ms. Mwazi has spoken about the fact that we went to each and every structure in this country. The aim was to determine what is the use of that particular structure. Is it a household? Is it a rustica in Oshana? Is it an anthill? Is it a borehole? Is it a shebeen? Is it a mahangu field? And so on. So we visited all those structures. The pilot for that census mapping took place in August 2019, and then that was followed right after by the census mapping, which started in October with Zambezi. I think maybe you are wondering, why did we start with Zambezi? Why didn't we start with Commerce? Well, Zambezi is because of the floods. So we wanted to go a bit earlier, so that when the flood comes, we probably could have already finished the mapping. So that was the main reason. And then in February 2020, the census mapping for Zambezi ended, and then we begin with the other 13 regions proper. That mapping went on. However, as we all remember, that COVID then kicks in, and everything was thrown out of balance. So between March, the field work for the census mapping was a bit disturbed, because we then have to send enumerators home because of the stages of COVID-19 that were introduced. So we couldn't continue as we were just getting to grip with the COVID-19 pandemic. The fieldwork then continues, and then it ended in April. That's when we concluded the fieldwork for the census mapping. However, we continue with the work in terms of processing the data, analyzing the census mapping data, as well as writing the report. And that gives emphasis to the census pilot, which was conducted in October 2021. We know very well that as much as COVID-19 hit us in 2020, it was a shock. And then the census was supposed to be conducted in 2021, and I think this is why you see that our previous publicity material were referring to the 2021 population and housing census. However, when we came into 2021, the aim of the pilot was to do the pilot and then the census. But when we came into 2021, as indicated earlier, the challenges of finance was not there, so we didn't have the fund because of the equally important competing, not even competing, but equally important national priorities when we were dealing with the COVID-19. Of course, in 2022, we were also hoping that we'll probably get a slice of the cake for us to be able to conduct the survey. Lucky enough, the government comes in October. I think we received that subvention when the Minister of Finance announced that he will be allocating 706 million to the NSA to conduct the census. So then the planning starts to happen. We kick into high gear. In March, between March and April, we started with what we call the regional publicity. We went to all the regions in the country, 14 regions. We went to all the town councils. We visited police headquarters. The aim was really to sensitize the regional structure of the importance and the upcoming census and the magnitude of the census and what was required then from the structure in terms of the support. Around May and June, we then started with the recruitment of the field staff. We rolled out an online application, first of its kind, for the NSA, and we received in the excess of 100,000 applications. That's how serious the young people, men and women in the regions, took that opportunity. Then after the recruitment, of course, we needed to do the selection. Selection was done. And then in the space of August to September, we then started with the trainings, as well as transport service acquisition and the acquisition of the tablets. For the very first time also in the history of NSA, we went from acquiring vehicles from second parties or third parties. We usually go and rent from rental companies. But then we have also realized that sometimes even when you give this opportunity to rental companies, they come back to our people on the ground and they take the vehicle and then they supply the NSA. So this time around, we wanted to inject in our local economy, so we went straight to the vehicle owners to source transport services. The tablets, we needed in excess of 12,000 tablets. Of course, as a country, we didn't have the resources to buy the tablets. We then look around. Lucky enough, ECA come on board, and then they rent us the census tablet that they have been renting to other countries. They have rented it to us, around 11,000 tablets. And then the deficit of around 1,700 tablets that we needed then to complement our numbers, we then source it from our sister organization, Statistics South Africa. They've been there with us through thick and thin. I think even from the 2011 census, they were the first to really jump on the bandwagon to assist us releasing that product. And then on the 18th to 22 September, we then kicks off proper with what we call the listing exercise. The listing exercise is an undertaking where we go to all the household and do a listing, a proper listing. The aim is to establish the correct number of the houses that are in those enumeration areas, and that forms a basis for the enumeration. We then use those bases to ascertain whether we have reached our completion status or not. The 24th September, it was a reference night, and I think there was so much publicity around that reference night. It was 24th, the night of the 24th of September, and the 25th of September was then the enumeration of the population. That enumeration was scheduled to take place from the then 25th September to the 6th of October. However, we know that things on the ground may not always work perfectly as required. We then had subsequence of mop-up extensions because we have found that between the census mapping and the listing, we have found so many structures that have popped up then. Remember, the census mapping was started in 2019 to 2021. And then you have 2021, 2022. So there have been some areas that have grown. And that's really what attributed for us to have such a prolonged extension. So the proper enumeration was then officially closed by the SG on the 5th of November, 2023. Now, I want you to take then through to who took part in this exercise. At the end of the day, after recruitment, after firing and hiring those that are misbehaving, replacing them, we have a total of 12,485 field staff that took place in the census countrywide. This breakdown is attributed to around 59% of the female, and the main male we are lagging behind, around 41%. There's no 50-50 distribution there. This is the distribution of the field staff per region. Of course, Commerce was the highest, followed by Omsati, and then Ohangwena, your usual suspect. So those were the regions with the highest number of field staff that took part in the census. I think the question is not really why they have the highest. I think also in terms of the population, they happen to be the highest, and so they have the higher number of enumeration areas. This is the distribution of, we wanted to be a bit more upfront and not leave anyone behind. I remember at one stage we had a call coming from a training center, and it says, no, there's somebody who is visually impaired at the training center. We didn't know until 2 days into the training, so you wonder where the supervisors of the particular training was doing. But may as it be, we managed. Lucky enough, the candidate was so good that they passed the test. How they passed the test, it's another debate altogether. But what is very important is that our people with disabilities, they are equally as ability to perform the function as any of us. We have demonstrated that. We have demonstrated that. And I think going forward, the NSA would need to improve on these numbers. We need to escalate these numbers. The colleagues are very good at publicity. They can convince people to take part in exercise. So really, we thank the center coordinators for doing that and for also allowing us to have an opportunity to involve as much as possible. But of course, we need to uplift the number so that in our next undertakings, these numbers goes up. So we also have quite a few from the marginalized. They have greatly take part, and they are as much as involved as anyone else in that particular undertaking. In terms of the transport services, we have again used transport service from the public straight. There was no intermediate person between the vehicle owners and the NSA. Omsati was the region with the highest number of people who were availed or who availed their transport to the census, followed by Ohangwena and Oshikoto. Of course, we are wondering what happened to Commerce. The procedure for this census was that in terms of the deployment of the transport services, we were looking at rural areas. So rural areas, we were deploying transport services, and then in urban areas, we were providing transport allowance. But it works in some other areas. In areas like in Rongo, in Commerce, and other urbanized areas, it was a hassle because then we underestimated the distance that some of these enumerators has to travel. So we had to find or to interject in the middle of the data collection to avail certain vehicles to ensure smooth operation of these enumerators. So that is on the transport services. Maybe just to allude to the fact that in total we have used in the range of 12,753. This is now against the backdrop of 2,710 because then we included our replacements. Some vehicle burns down, some vehicle could not proceed due to mechanical failure. So those things were expected. We then moved to December, where the service providers the payments were then being processed. That was now after the end of the enumeration and in December. And if we look at the figures in terms of the expenditures, we have spent in excess of 159 million, slightly close to 160 million in terms of paying census field staff. And this is really the breakdown in terms of the region. Which region has a bigger share? Of course, Commerce, Erongo, and Umsati took a big chunk of that total expenditure. In terms of the transport services, our expenditure was in the range of 128 million. 112 million was on the transport service providers. Those are the owners of the vehicles that have rendered their vehicle to the NSA. And then, of course, in the local economy, in terms of mobility, making sure that the vehicle are moving, we have spent 16 million throughout the country in terms of fuels. So really, service stations in the areas where we were operating, they were benefiting as a result of the census. This is the transport service according to the region in terms of expenditures. Ohangwena was the highest, followed by Umsati and then Oshikoto. Those were the three highest regions where we spent, so much of our budget that were designated to transport service providers. And then regional fuel expenditure, of course, again, it follows suit. Oshikoto, of course, very close. Umsati and Oshikoto very close. And you can imagine why Oshikoto is competing in terms of, fuel because of the vast distances. If you go to Nehari and Pingana constituencies and the likes, these are very, tough roads, and they require a lot of fuel consumptions. Then finally, we then entered the stage in slightly after 2024. We then entered the stage of data processing, having now make sure that all the information are in as much as possible. We have checked all the backups and so on. The data processing then started, as well as attending to service providers' queries. And then this is where we are today, where we are launching the preliminary results. Now, this census was not just a Namibian census. This was an international census. This was a global census. Namibia got assistance throughout the world. We have assistance from our very, very reliable partner in population, who are UNFPA. We got assistance from US Census Bureau. We got assistance from Togo, that's where our tablets comes from. Assistance from Statistics Norway, development partners, of course, Start SA, our colleagues from the Office of the National Statistics in the UK, ECA, of course, for availing those tablets, and very important, our government for supporting these endeavors. They have seen the importance of the census, and that's the support that they have rendered. And very, very important, the Namibian population, without whom this census would never have been a success. You have to get information from the respondents, and if they are not responding, this information will not be there. Before I end, we have a 3-minute video just to show how the census went in pictures. Everything that our enumerator went through is there. Yes, that was really Census 2023. Finally, I just want to thank everyone that took part in the census, everybody that have contributed, either by providing data or providing our enumerators with anything. They have really made it possible, and we thank them for playing their part, and definitely they have been counted. Thank you.
Okay, we know the drill by now. Another round of applause, please. Yeah, as you can see, the census was not easy. It was not easy. There was a lot of things happening, as you can see. Okay, we are blessed with a minor amendment to the program, and that is that the Right Honorable Prime Minister wants to see how many we are. But before we see how many we are, we had something that's supposed to be coming up onto your screen where you could guess the population. I think on social media people are already guessing. If it is not there yet, it will probably come up soon. While that happens, let me call upon the Statistician General and CEO of the Namibia Statistics Agency to come to the fore and not just answer the million-dollar question of how many we are, but also just to tell you other data. SJ, you have the floor. All right. I'm not 100% sure how you will be able. We have a small questionnaire where you can actually guess the population. Just for interest's sake, we always wanted to know what people say and do. Even this morning, I met a couple of guys and we sat down and they just asked, what do you guys think is the population? It was very interesting to hear the figures. Then they asked me, what do you think is it? I said, no, I don't know. All right, so SG, you have the floor and all the best.
I was also asked last night whether we have at least reached 2.5 million, because at the moment we are 2.1 from 2011. I said, I also don't know. We'll see. Right Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, allow me also to stand on the protocol that was established, and also for the sake of time, I will be rushing through my presentation. I guess the most important figure they want to know is what is the population, but there are more other interesting populations as well. Is the presentation ready? Thank you. I'll do it this way. This is not working. Okay. Thank you. Let me go directly into the presentation. And that's what I'm going to take you through. I don't think that I will have to spend a lot of time in terms of the importance of the census, because that was what we were doing when we were lobbying for the funds. And I'm happy that the political principals are here and they have given us the funds. And then just to talk about the background also of the census and some key innovations that we used in the census that enabled us to carry out the project successfully, and also the quality assurance measures that we have taken. And then the main part of the presentation, which is the results, and then what will happen after today, when will the other products come out, and then the conclusion, of course. As I said, I will not dwell much on the census because we need the data for socio-economic planning and even policy formulation. And like the Deputy Statistician General said, we also need the data for informed decision making. This is the fourth census for the country, because the first one was in 1991, and then every 10 years, 2001, 2011, and then there's a gap, it's now at least 12 years to 2023. Dr. Nema already spoke about the census reference night, and then we also mentioned that from the third quarter of the financial year 2024-2025, we will be giving out publications and disseminate the results, the additional results that we are talking about. On the innovations, this is the first digital census, which is a modern census. All those years we have been doing with paper questionnaire, which was not only time-consuming and costly, but we are also prone to errors, because once we have collected the data, you need to have data, people who do the data entry. That transition from paper to computer could be a problem. So not only was it digital, it was also GIS enabled, so households had to be plotted with an area where they are. And we had handheld devices, which we call CAPI, computer-assisted personal interviewers. And then we had online application that we spoke about, because imagine 110,000 applications, we could not have handled them manually. And then the second last bullet point is the one that I spoke about, the GIS enabled, because if it gives you a figure where of the population, if you are disputing that is either too little or too high, we will be able to verify that by going to those dots, and every dot represents a household. But obviously we cannot give information of an individual. And then we had real-time monitoring dashboard during the data collection. Now I can also say in front of my board members that when they were looking for us, we were glued to this dashboard, because this is how we could intervene when people were not speeding up with the data collection. And then obviously the quality assurance, the handheld device, the copy, as opposed to the paper, you cannot, in the paper you can make a mistake. If a girl child is, for example, 5 years, you might just go enter number of children that she has, but we know it's not practical. So with this device, if they have what we call skip rules and check rules, where they can move on to the next questions. And then I spoke about the data dashboard monitoring. And then also we have done the field monitoring throughout the process. And then it's in that daily situational room where we are monitoring those screens of how people were doing. And then with the help of UNFPA, we had an independent technical expert who was a chief technical advisor for the census. Yes, the goal was to count everyone, and the picture that you see there, those are people who were at the roadblocks for travelers, because the reference net were targeting the travelers. We also targeting the people who were homeless. We went personally, I was at the Vanil Bridge. We were counting people there. Unfortunately, we had to wake them up 12 o'clock midnight to count them, because next day we will not know where they will move to. And then those are the pictures that you have seen. Now let's go to the main purpose of the presentation, which are the results. Now, we all come from either we are first coming from a constituency and then a region and part of Namibia. And this is how we need to go with the results. We started with the constituency and then the population also. With Karas region, starting with Karas region, the population for Karas region is 109,893. But just to concentrate due to the sake of time, Keetmanshoop urban constituency has got the highest population, and the least populated constituency is Keetmanshoop rural with 8,744 people. The next one is alphabetical, is Erongo region, that is the population. And then the highest constituency is Swakopmund, and the lowest is Omaruru. And then Hardap, that's the population with Rehoboth East urban being the mostly populated, and Davep constituency the least populated. And then population of Kavango East region, we have Rundu urban, the highest constituency, and Rundu rural, the lowest. And, excuse me? It's for the sake of time, we will make the presentation available. Thank you, Chairman. Kavango West region, we have Kapako constituency as the highest constituency in terms of population, and then Mankumpi being the lowest. And then Khomas region, we are talking of almost 500,000 of people in Khomas, and Samora Machel constituency being the highest with 92,401 people, and then Katutura East, I'm actually from that constituency, we are the lowest at 22,940 in Khomas. And then Kunene region, that's the population 120,762 people, and Epupa is the constituency with the most people, whereas Sesfontein is the lowest constituency population-wise. Wangwena region, 337,000 people, 729, with Enana being the most populated constituency of 35,304, while Omdangilo is at 15,009 people. And then Omaheke have got 102,881 people, with Hobabas being the largest constituency in terms of population, and Epukiro 7,880 people. Omusati region has got 316,000 people, 671, where Outapi is most populated with 53,594. Elim has got the least populated constituencies, or least populated constituency in Omusati region, 13,400. And then Oshana region has got 230,801 people, and Ongwediva the most populated, and Okachali the least populated. Oshikoto region got more than 250,000 people, and Umthia Pundi 39,855, and Guinas constituency 8,578. Chodon Jupa 220,811, Oshiwarongo with more than almost 55,000, and Tsumkwe 15,357 people. Zambezi has got more than 142,000, and Katima Mulilo Eben 46,401, while Judea Liaboloma 8,738. Those are the constituencies and their regions. And then what does this bring us to? Where the people giving the guests already how much it is? Did you get the guests? What were the educated guests that we had? 4.6. 2.6. Going once, 2.6. 2.8. I think the Honorable Deputy Minister had his hand up. 2.6. All right, Honorable Prime Minister, can we go ahead to show the figure? Okay, thank you. There's the figure. So we have hit the 3 million mark. So the official figure is 3,022,401 people in Namibia. If you can allow me to just dwell down deeper in how to break down this figure in a very quick way, is that how the population have grown. In 1991 we were 1.4 million, and then we were 1.8 in 2001, and 2011 we were 2.1 million, and then now we are at 3.02 million. And these are the regional population that I've just explained. It's just to show that from 2011 up to 2023, all the regions have been growing. So those are the figures that I've just presented, and Khomas being the highest and Omega the lowest. And then just to show some growth here for Khomas, grown from 342,000 to 494,000. And then the other one, Omaheke, which is the least populated from all the regions, they've grown from 71,000 to 102,000. And then, but the regions that have grown the most is in the order of Kavango East. They've grown with 59.6%. which is it's not showing. And then also we had Erongo region also grew with 59.3%. Maybe that is expected because people also flock to the coast to look for jobs. And then Zambezi grew with 57.2%. And then those did not grow that vast or that fast is those three that are there, which is Hardap, 34.2%. Then we have Omusati that grew with 30.2%, and then Oshana with 30.6%. The highest percentage change there we spoke is about Erongo and Kavango East. And then if you look at the composition of urban and rural population, in 2001, the last census, we had the urban population was 903,000, while the rural was 1.2 million. But now if you look at the composition for this census, we have urban almost equal, urban 1.49 and then the other one 1.52, that is rural. So the growth with the growth, the population of growth to the urban areas increased by 65.5%, while for the rural only grew by 26.3% if you compare. And then there's always people have always their own assumptions. Sometimes people will say for every 3 women there's 2 men, or for every 3 women there's 1 man. But the case, the reality is here now. So in 2011, for every 94 males, there are 100 females. And how did it move in 2013? Is for every 95 males, there are 100 females. We are trying to catch up as male, but the female are still moving. And then this is an interesting chart, actually, because these are according to the 5-year gap age groups. If you see from between the years, the first one 0 to 4 up to around 55 to 59 years, the working ages, we are almost the same, like almost 50-50 you can say. Apart from 55 to 59, there are 54% female and 46 are male. But from retirement, I don't know what's happening with us. We are shrinking. We are becoming less and less. We are actually saying that the females are outliving us. So it means the female live longer than us. Yes. So look at from the age of 90 up to 95 plus is only about 26.5% of male. The rest are female. And then the population pyramids from the demographers. This is they say it's quite a normal pyramid, because if the base is actually broad, then it means we are also a youthful population. I think if you go to Europe, you find different, because they are aging, people are aging. They are also worried in the future to say who will be taking over, who will be running the countries and so on. Now let's see what the pyramid is telling us. They are saying people from 0 to 14 years, they are more than a third. 37% of people are between 0 and 14 years. And then people between 15 to 59, I personally don't like that classification to say that's a working age, because if you are 15 years, you need to be in school, and the government is also providing people to go to school for free. So, but that age, we have 56.1% of people who are the working age. And then people who are 60 years and above, the pensioners, we are talking about 6.8%. If Tate Shimi was here, the Minister of Finance was going to take interest in terms of pension, how much pension we are talking about that we need to pay out. And then out of that 15 to 59 years, let's talk about the youth, 15 years to 34, they are 34.1%. Now, if you take the 0 to 14 and 15 to 34, which is just to see how much are those. If you add those 2 percentages, they give you 71.1%, which is a population under the age of 35. So for the political principles, we have capacity in terms of people growing up to run the country going forward. Yes, because comparing to the Europes, they are worried to say who will be running the country going forward. And then this is just the density of the area compared to the population. If you look down there, the south is 0.7 people per 1 square kilometer. And then in the middle there, the 13.4 persons per square kilometer, that is now commerce. And then if you go further up north to, if you go to, you have 9.1%, that is in Kavango, 9.1% per square kilometer, that is now Kavango East, while Kavango West is 5 people per square meter, per square kilometer. We say Ohangwena have got 31.5% per square kilometer, while Oshana has got 26.7% per square kilometer. And then Karas, of course, there seems to be more space for people that are there. Now, to look at the number of households, in 2011 we had more than 464,000 houses, so households. It's very important to be correct, is households, because there's a specific definition for a household. And then it has increased with more than 291,000 households, or 62.7%. So in 2023, we have 756,000 households. So when we say statistics, especially the census is for everyone, if I see my colleague from ECN, the chief referenda is here, if you want to go door to door, you have a mammoth task of more than 756,000 houses or households that you need to move to. People who are selling household products, there is the market. And then the average size of the household. We used to be 4.4 people per house in average. Now that shrank to 3.8. It's shrank with 0.6 persons per household. So seems like families are becoming smaller now instead of becoming more. The average household size by the regions, we have Kavango East averaging 5.3 persons per household, while Kavango West 5.5 persons per household. In Karas, we have the least sizes of the average sizes, which is 3.1 persons per household. Now that's the end of the results and what is expected going forward. Today we have released the preliminary report, and then going forward we are going to have the basic report, or the main report actually, which is the final results of the population size. And as I said earlier, we do not expect this to change significantly. We are going to talk more on the population size and the sex ratio, the density, all those. We're going to have the final report on that. That will come around October 2024. And then for the honorable governors that are around, we're also going to have regional reports, regional profiles for all the 14 regions also by October. And since we have the last time, the economists in the room, since the last time we had the labor force survey in 2018, we are now also going to have a labor force report. It's not a full labor force survey or analysis, but it's an indication of people employed and unemployed. That report will also come in by June. And then additional products that will come with that, and this is the reason also why it's taking longer. We need to do more in-depth analysis. This one is actually one of my favorites, which is the Population Atlas and Basic Spatial Analysis Atlas. This is where we are going to look at the proximity analysis in terms of how many people have to work to school, the policy of 5 kilometer radius. We are going to have that analysis. Access to interesting points like water points, that will come from that first report. The second report, also very important, we'll look at fertility, mortality, and migration report. And then definitely we're also going to have population projections, and we normally do it for 40 years we're taking all the other things into consideration, the birth rates, the death rates, and do the population projections. And then other specific reports that will also come in is disability, agriculture, education. I'm happy that the Honorable Minister of Education is around. Was very much early because she said she's very early because she takes statistics very seriously. Thank you very much, Honorable. So we not only look at education, but we also look at literacy, housing conditions, we are going to look at that, and all others that we have listed down there. And then to conclude, we just focused on the demographic variables in order to provide the basic input for planning, especially like the ECN, they need to print ballot papers these elections. They need to know what is the population that is now, those that are eligible for voting, how many of those people are 18 years and above. So the figures are also talking to them. And then we have released these results in line with national and international standards and best practices. When we do a digital census, they say we should able to come up with the preliminary results 3 months after you went to the field. We are within 6 months, but also remember that December, January is also a different month. Not that I'm making excuses for my board members who are here, but we did our best. So the population that will be presented in the basic report that is upcoming, you should not expect to get any significant differences from those results because it's only something minor. So if you say that it's out with 1% or so comparing to 3.02%, that in statistical term we call it statistical insignificant. Thank you for playing your part, for also being counted and for listening here now. Thank you.
Yes, another round of applause, please. All right, the magical number is out. The magical number is out. Namibia has finally reached the 3 million mark. I remember many, many years ago, the leader of the nation told the misbehaving men that they must stop drinking in shabins and misbehaving and doing all unconstructive things, and recommended more productive activities. And you can see now we are 3 million. Yeah, so it's always good to listen to the elders, and I see Namibia has done so. Again, we have just something small to say. Okay, now we are going to proceed. We are going to, due to time constraints, we are going to call up. I want you please to rise and assist me to welcome the Right Honorable Prime Minister to the stage to give her remarks. Madam Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Director of Proceedings. Please take your seat. Yes, Director of Ceremonies, Mr. Zakaria Ipumbu, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Works and Transport, Honorable Members of Cabinet and of Parliament present here, Honorable Governors and Chairpersons of Regional Councils and other councillors that are present here, Your Worship, the Mayor of the City of Windhoek and other members of the Town Council of Windhoek, UNFPA Namibia representative, Ms. Erica Goldson, and other members of the diplomatic corps present here, senior government officials, the chairperson and members of the board of directors and staff of the Namibian Statistics Agency, NSA, our host today, representatives of our stakeholders from the private sector and the non-governmental organizations, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning. I am honored to address you today at the launch of the Population and Housing Census Preliminary Report. Statistics is important in governance as it enables informed decision-making. In fact, it is said that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. the population and housing census, having been undertaken against the background of a difficult economic and thus public revenue situation, stands as a clear testimony of our government's commitment to ensuring availability of reliable data. Our government has over the years strived to ensure the regular conduct of data collection exercises to ensure that stakeholders have access to information that they need to make informed decisions. The difficult economic situation that we have been experiencing over the past years have tested our country's ability to uphold its established tradition to conduct regular data collection exercises. It is therefore most pleasing that after initial resources challenges that pose the risk for the actualization of this exercise, the census has finally been successfully carried out. And I understand that this was done in a record time of less than a year. I wish to extend sincere appreciations of our government to all stakeholders whose contribution helped to make this success possible. Statistics is indispensable for development, as indicated earlier, because it provides useful insights that aid effective planning, monitoring, and evaluation, not only in the public sector, but for the private sector and civil society stakeholders as well. It provides narratives that tell us about the aspirations, challenges, and triumphs of our people. Therefore, through rigorous collection and analysis of data, we get to truly understand the needs of our citizens. The population and housing census represents a milestone in our journey towards a more data-informed governance model. Beyond the numerical intricacies lies a wealth of information that serves as a compass guiding us in the formulation of strategic policies and programs in the allocation of resources. Effective governance hinges on decisions rooted in empirical evidence. The census data empowers us to identify priority areas, understand demographic dynamics, and tailor our policies to address the unique needs of various segments of our population. By ensuring that our plans are evidence-based, we ensure that our interventions are responsive and effective, that resources are targeted to the most pressing needs of our country and to the areas where the returns are highest. That way, the country optimizes its resources and opportunities to achieve a transformation to a developed and prosperous nation. In embracing the use of statistics, we are empowered to achieve inclusivity. Statistics provides us with a tool to pursue social justice, ensuring that no one is left out. By so doing, we pave the way for a Namibia where every citizen, regardless of location or circumstance, has access to the opportunities needed to thrive. By dissecting the data, we gain insights into the specific challenges faced by different communities. Armed with this knowledge, we can tailor interventions that uplift the marginalized, empower the vulnerable, and foster an environment where every Namibian can contribute to and benefit from the nation's progress. Namibia, like any other nation, faces many challenges on the economical, social, and environmental fronts. To effectively address these challenges, we recognize the need for a steady stream of reliable, up-to-date data because conditions are dynamic and our governance must reflect this dynamism. Regular data collection is a commitment to staying attuned to the pulse of our nation. By continuously collecting and analyzing data, we position ourselves not only to react to existing challenges, but also to anticipate and proactively address emerging ones. We therefore appreciate the need to adequately fund the data collection surveys and programs in order to have sufficient inventory of statistical data sets fit for monitoring and evaluating our programs. But since statistics is a public good, really, I invite all our stakeholders, our development partners, and the non-state actors in Namibia to continue to hold hands with our government to ensure that we mobilize adequate resources for statistical exercises. The availability of census data marks the beginning, not the end, of our journey. Armed with this information, we now have the task to translate insights into action. Let our plans be meticulous, grounded into the realities revealed by statistics. Let every policy decision, every strategic initiative bear the imprint of informed planning. Informed planning is not just a bureaucratic exercise, but a solemn commitment to the people we serve. It is a promise that our decisions are rooted in an understanding of their needs, aspirations, and challenges. It is an assurance that every action taken based on informed plans is a step towards a more prosperous, equitable, and just Namibia. The ultimate goal of our statistical endeavors is not simply to generate numbers or compile reports, but it is to make Namibia a better place for all its citizens. Using the intricate details revealed by the census data, let us be guided by a vision of a nation where every Namibian has the opportunity to flourish. Our collective efforts, fueled by the insights gleaned from statistics, can transform challenges into opportunities. Let us envision a Namibia where economic prosperity is shared by all, where social harmony prevails, and where the environment is cherished and protected for future generations. In this transformative journey, our commitment to making Namibia a better place goes hand in hand with the recognition that the power of statistics lies not in numbers, but in the positive impact it can have on the lives of our people. So in addition to undertaking statistical exercises such as the census, we as a government shall also strengthen administrative data collection in the public sector. We will also strengthen the capacity for data analysis and the use of data to monitor implementation and evaluate the impact of our intervention, and be guided by this to make the necessary adjustments to our interventions in order to make them more responsive and effective. This is where the true value of statistics lies. Before concluding, it is essential to express our government's deepest gratitude to the multitude of stakeholders and partners who have played a crucial role in this endeavor. Special thanks go to our late president, Dr. Hage Geingob, who, by championing this initiative, including ensuring that it received the required funding amidst a very challenging government revenue situation, demonstrated our government's endorsement of evidence-based planning and statistical data collection. This commitment is part of the rich legacy he left behind, which will endure long after his sad and untimely departure. I commend the various offices, ministries, and agencies for their invaluable contributions, as well as the regional councils, community leaders, and the media for mobilizing communities and facilitating cooperation with the census officials. Government also acknowledges the invaluable support provided by international partners, including the United Nations Population Fund, represented here today, United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, the United Kingdom Office for National Statistics, and Statistics South Africa. Their technical expertise, material support, and collaborative spirit have been instrumental in the success of the 2023 population and housing census. Heartfelt appreciations go to the dedicated census staff who tirelessly worked to undertake the population and housing census. Their commitment and hard work form the backbone of this monumental effort, and we are indebted to them for their service to our nation. The same goes, of course, to their supervisors in management and at the board level, as well as at the level of the National Planning Commission. Finally, we extend our gratitude to the general public. Your time, cooperation, and active participation during the 2023 Population and Housing Census have been integral to its success. In your engagement, we see the spirit of a united Namibia, collectively working towards a shared vision of progress and prosperity. In conclusion, let us take the data we have collected and transform it into a catalyst for positive change. Let our policies, programs, and actions reflect the insights we have gained from the census. As a country, we have set ourselves ambitious goals under Vision 2030 and Harambee Prosperity Plan to transform our country into an industrial and prosperous nation where Namibians are both beneficiaries and drivers of our local development, and where no Namibian feels left out in the Namibian house. No Namibian feels left out, because it's as important that no one is left out, or rather it is important that no one feels left out as it is important that no one is left out. It is pleasing to note that after several years of an economic downturn, the economy has started to recover, and the recently tabled budget seeks to actualize the goals and targets that we have set for ourselves as a nation. Let us pull together and strive to bring about the Namibia that we all like to see. With these remarks, it is my pleasure to declare the preliminary results of the 2023 Population and Housing Census officially launched. Thank you very much. By the way, we had a bet there about what we think the population would be after this census. I lost miserably. I thought we were going to reach the 4 million mark, but another person there was closer, who is the Minister of Education, who betted that it was going to be 3 point something million, around there. So it means that our educational plans are in good hands. And so we had to offer her our bottles of water and sweets as a recognition of her precision. Thank you.
A round of applause, please. That's for the Right Honorable Prime Minister, and then a round of applause for the Minister of Education, please. Okay, thank you very much. Now, due to time, may I kindly call upon the Deputy Prime Minister, the Minister of Education, who seems to be very good with numbers, the Statistician General, the Chairperson of the Board, as well as Mr. Mbangu, representing the Director General, to come in front so that you just exhibit the document that contains this very serious information, and to also allow our colleagues for the media to take their quick shots. Yeah. And I will hand out the report so that maybe we all move closer to that side, and then we please get the Minister of Health to attend us, to come to the front, please. I mean, we would not be here if we are not healthy. Please come up front. right, thank you very much. The report is officially released. It's on the website. It's available, and all data released. All right, round of applause, please. All right. This is so relieving when the cat is out of the sack. So everybody knows now how many we are. That's very good. So just to let you all know, the data that was presented, it is uploaded on the website. We will send it to our stakeholders to make sure that it gets throughout the whole country. And the presentations that were made by both Dr. Nema and the Statistician General, they are to be circulated. They will be found on our website as well, and you can access them to get information. And also, just very critically, for whatever more information you need, just please contact us. We can give you all the data we have. Now, you will see some of our officials are just walking around. They will just give you the USB with an electronic report, so that when you leave from here, you have your report with you. All right, so now this will take us, we will now continue with our program. And all right. All right, no. May we please, like I indicated earlier, the Right Honorable Prime Minister needs to leave. May we just rise while she takes her glorious departure from us. We highly appreciate, and a round of applause, please. All right, we will now proceed. Now the remaining items on the program, we are now going to go to the remarks that come from the UNFPA, from Ms. Erica Goldson, who's the country representative. If when you were listening to Dr. Nema's statement, he indicated that this was not just a national activity, it was an international activity with the assistance of a lot of partners, especially the UNFPA. So a round of applause for Ms. Erica Goldson, the UNFPA country representative.
Directors of Ceremonies, Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Namibia, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Works and Transport, the Director General of the National Planning Commission, Honorable Minister and other Honorable Ministers present, the Board Chairperson and other board members of the Namibia Statistics Agency, the Statistician General and CEO of the Namibia Statistics Agency, the Deputy Statistician General of the Namibian Statistics Agency, senior officials from different ministries and agencies, staff of the Namibia Statistics Agency, UN colleagues, members of the diplomatic community, academia, private sector, and civil society organizations, friends of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is with great pleasure that I give these remarks on behalf of the UNFPA in Namibia, the UNFPA East and Southern Africa Regional Office, and the wider UN system in Namibia. Allow me to express our sincere appreciation for the invitation and the cordial collaboration. This event marks a very successful completion of years of preparation and hard work by the government of the Republic of Namibia, particularly the staff of the Namibia Statistics Agency in collaboration with other partners and stakeholders. At this juncture, I wish to commend the government of Namibia, the Office of the Prime Minister, the National Planning Commission, the various line ministries, and the Namibia Statistics Agency and the people of Namibia for this bold, innovative, and successful undertaking. For Namibia, it was the first ever digital census that applied information and communication technology in all of its phases. Congratulations. Distinguished guests, a census is no doubt the largest data operation that a country carries out. Undertaking a credible and successful census that meets international standards is not just a development priority of the government, but also a development priority of UNFPA and the wider UN system in the country. A population and housing census plays a vital role in producing official statistics and providing fundamental information for measuring the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. The 2030 Development Agenda requires reliable, robust, accessible, and timely disaggregated population and demographic data. The 2023 census will provide us with the relevant information which allows us to see the population changes in the last decade, covering many areas including population size and structure, fertility, mortality, migration, education, employment, disability, and housing conditions. This huge data set is a vital information source for the development, monitoring, and evaluation of various socioeconomic policies, strategies, and development plans at national, subnational, and sectoral levels, as well as for the monitoring of the Sustainable Development Goals and targets in Namibia. UNFPA globally has a long history of successful cooperation with statistics institutions, and specifically for Namibia, with the Namibia Statistics Agency in undertaking population and housing censuses, a relationship which started at the Central Bureau of Statistics with the very first census in 1991. We commend the success of all the censuses conducted over the last 3 decades and applaud the growth of the national statistical capacities in producing this very critical data and other population-based surveys. UNFP Namibia, pleased to have contributed to a very modest way to the 2023 census through the provision of equipment, such as the tablets from Togo, and technical support in the form of a census technical advisor, a CS Pro expert, and a post-census enumeration survey expert, just to mention a few. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I would like to reaffirm UNFPA and the wider UN system continued commitment to collaborate with the government, the Namibia Statistics Agency, and other stakeholders to ensure the seamless completion of the 2023 census processes. In addition, we would like to continue to support the generation of timely population data for development and the scaling up of innovative solutions to strengthen the national statistics systems that ensure every woman, men, girls, and boys are counted, protected throughout their lifetime. Through technological innovation, the focus is also to ensure that the data we jointly generate is accurate and reflects the human stories behind each and every number. Congratulations once again. UNFPA is proud to be a part of this monumental achievement. Thanks for your kind attention.
Yeah, another round of applause, please, 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 please. Okay, thank you very much. We are proceeding with our program. Our program is very unique. We are going to now have the chairperson of the board of the Namibia Statistics Agency to provide us with his remarks, whereafter I shall be back. Mr. Salomo Hay, who is very much interested in statistics himself, please come to the fore and give us your remarks, sir.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies or Director of Ceremonies. Nevertheless, thank you so much, Ipumbu. And I'm equally excited about that we're able to launch this preliminary results. When the results comes out, I'm sure further analysis will be made in terms of where did the growth occur in the 10-year cycle. Was it towards the latter years when Honorable Kalumbi Shangula locked us in during COVID? or where did this growth occur? Right Honorable Sarak Kukongola Madila, in absentia Prime Minister of the Republic of Namibia, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Works and Transport, John Mutorwa, Honorable Kalumbi Shangula, Minister of Health, Honorable Obeth Kanjo, the Director General of the National Planning Commission, in absentia, Honorable Minister of Education, Madam Anna Ngipondoka, ministers of different ministries present here, honorable governors from different regions, honorable governors, everyone in Namibia has got 2 regions. You saw the number for the Commerce region, but we always look at our home regions, so thank you for coming. Executive directors from different government ministries, chief regional officers, senior security personnel that's here with us today, the UNFA representative, Madam Edgar Colson, thank you so much for your remarks. Members of the board, I see they are well represented. Members of the Statistics Board, the chairperson, Mr. Ngifindaka, the Census Board Committee is also here. The most important people in the room, the Namibia Statistics Agency staff, thank you so much. The SG and the management team, representatives from development partners, private sectors, NGOs, members of the media, Director of Ceremony. The census comes every 10 years, and subsequently I extended the protocol which we established. Ladies and gentlemen, in the end, everything's work out. If it doesn't, then it's not the end. The preliminary report of our nation's 4th population and housing census marks a significant milestone in our journey towards understanding and addressing the needs of our people. The success of the population household census remains a collective success, and it is imperative to reflect back on our accomplishments and challenges we have encountered along the way. The immediate success relates to the significant reduction in time for the release of the preliminary statistics in 2011, when the data was released over a period of post-12 months after the enumeration. The census serves as the cornerstone of our nation's statistical framework, the basis for research providing essential data for informed decision-making, policy formulation, and resource allocation. Furthermore, the implementation of this mandate informs businesses and investors to make informed decisions regarding market opportunities and investment strategies. The NSA's data on demographic, consumer behavior, and business activity helps them understand market dynamics and assess risk for mitigation. Under the guidance of the NSA, we have embarked on a journey to capture the socio-economic essence of our diverse population, ensuring that no voice goes unheard. Additionally, I'm proud to declare that the NSA stands firmly in line with the United Nations statistical principles of holding regular censuses. Of course, with the outbreak of COVID-19, our census was postponed by 2 years. while most of other nations had postponed their census by 1 year due to the COVID pandemic. What we do know now, after the results by the SG, is that COVID also had other implications. We are happy that we could still undertake the census in the 2020 round of census. By adhering to these principles, we reaffirm our commitment to providing quality data in pursuit of sustainable development. Through the census, we demonstrated our dedication to fulfilling our international obligations and contributing to the global statistical community. The NSA's work facilitates international comparisons and cooperation by providing standardized data that can be used for benchmarking and collaborating with other countries and other international organizations. Director of Ceremonies, ladies and gentlemen, I would be remiss in my duty if I did not express my heartfelt appreciation to the Government of the Republic of Namibia for their unwavering commitment to statistics and the census. Namibia remains one of the few countries that fully fund their census. This is worth applauding, as there's no interference at all. The provision of significant resources underscores the importance placed on this endeavor and reflects the government's commitment and dedication to ensuring the well-being of every Namibian citizen, which is in line with the vision of our dear departed President, Dr. Hage Geingob, of no one should feel left out. May his soul continue to find perfect peace. Let's try to live the vision he bequeathed upon us. It is through this partnership between government agencies, civil society, and the private sector that we can achieve meaningful progress and prosperity, as demonstrated during the census advocacy and enumeration phases. Although despite our collective efforts, we cannot ignore the funding gap that has hampered our statistical collection initiatives. This gap has led to statistics gap, hindering our ability to conduct all planned surveys and gather comprehensive data. Notable absentees of late statistics are the labor force survey, and I think the SG has spoken about that we'll get a labor force report. It will be very useful. And the other one that's also missing is the financial inclusion survey. However, the world of statistics is not always linear. And with that said, I'm glad to note that the Ministry of Finance and Public Enterprises has made provisions for the Namibia Household Income and Expenditure Survey, a crucial survey for the revision of the national accounts, as well as the provision for the Census of Agriculture. While we have made strides in capturing the essence of our population, there remain segments of society whose voices have not been fully heard. It is our obligation to address this challenge and ensure that no one is left behind in our quest for progress and an equitable society. In conclusion, let us approach the findings of this preliminary report with a sense of optimism and determination. Let us use the insights collected from the census to inform our policies, empower our communities, and build a brighter future for generations to come by proper planning and policy formulation. Together, we have the power to transform challenges into opportunities and pave the way for a more inclusive and prosperous Namibia. In the end, everything works out. If it doesn't, then it's not the end. I thank you.
Okay, the chairman, please, another round of applause. Okay, so at the end, it all works out. And if it doesn't, then it's not the end. Okay. So never lose hope. That's a good one. Yeah, okay, thank you very much. We have, because it's statistics and everybody has millions of questions, we have sessions after this where we might just run through the presentation again so that we can answer some of the questions or listen to the comments or views or perceptions that there are based on this report. But before that, as the NSA, we fall under the Namibia Planning Commission, and I would like to call upon Mr. Sylvester Mbangu to give us the remarks that are of Honorable Obeth Kanjode. Mr. Mbangu, please come to the floor.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies. I was scared that that Ipumbu might say that I'm acting Director General. So, so he was very careful. Thank you very much for that. My purpose is just to read the statement which the Director General was supposed to read here. And therefore, despite my excitement about that greater performance, I will not, I will just read the statement as it is. Right Honorable Sarah Kongero Madila, Prime Minister of Republic of Namibia, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, ministers present here, the chairperson of NSA, the Secretary General, Ms. Erica Goldson, UNFPA, Namibia representative. Allow me to stand on the protocol already established. Today, I stand before you to delve into the crucial role that census data plays in shaping the trajectory of our nation's development. As we navigate the intricate landscape of policy formulation, program tracking, and the realization of Harambee Prosperity Plan and Vision 2030, we must recognize the significance of the data gathering through the recent census. Namibia's development journey, the journey to Vision 2030, is intricately linked with the formulation of its national development plans. These blueprints serve as the roadmap guiding us towards a future where prosperity is shared, opportunities abound, and every citizen's potential is realized. The census data, rich in demographic, social, and economic information, stands at the bedrock upon which NDP 6 will be crafted. Vision 2030, our beacon of long-term development aspirations, requires a solid foundation. The census data provides us with a panoramic view of our nation's landscape, enabling us to identify areas of strength, challenges, and opportunities. Informed by this data, NDP 6 will be a dynamic and responsive plan, ensuring that our development trajectory aligns with the aspiration of Namibian people. As we treat the path towards NDP 6, it's incumbent upon us to assess the achievements and shortcomings of NDP 5. The census data provides the lens through which we can objectively evaluate the outcomes of the previous development plan. By analyzing the data, the census data, we can glean insights into the factors that contributed to the successes of the NDP 5, as well as identifying areas that require renewed focus. This introspection is not a mere exercise, but rather a strategic imperative. Understanding the dynamics of NDP 5's implementation allows us to fine-tune our approach to NDP 6. The census data facilitates an evidence assessment, enabling us to learn from our experiences and chart a course that capitalizes on successes while addressing any gaps that may have emerged. As we embark upon the formulation of NDP 6, we recognize the importance of engaging the nation in this transformative process. This is the reason why the staff from the National Planning Commission is currently consulting people in all regions to garner input in the formulation of NDP 6. Inclusivity is not just a buzzword, but a fundamental principle that underlines our commitment to governance by and for the people. The census data also provide us with a unique opportunity to engage the nation in a dialogue about our collective future. I highly recommend the NSA to embark on a journey of sharing the insights gleaned from the census data with the public in the coming month. Remember, a census is not complete until the data has been shared with all relevant stakeholders. Just as NSA canvassed for support for census participation, the time has come also for NSA to also go back to those very same people and share the results with them. If this is not done, it will be a challenge to conduct follow-up surveys, as people will be wondering what happened to the information they shared with NSA for the census. Town hall meetings, workshops, and digital platforms should become avenues through which NSA should engage with communities. In conclusion, the census data is not just a compilation of numbers, but is a fundamental to planning and is at the core of any socio-economic research agenda. It is the heartbeat of our nation. It resonates with the aspirations, challenges, and dreams of every Namibian. As we navigate the complex terrain of development planning, let us recognize the transformative power of this data. Let NDP 6 be more than a plan. Let it be a testament to our collective vision for a Namibia where every citizen, regardless of background and circumstances, thrive. Let the census data be a compass that guides us towards a future characterized by prosperity, inclusivity, and sustainability. As we move forward, let us celebrate the diversity that defines us, acknowledge the challenges that shapes us, and embrace the opportunities that beacon us. I thank you.
Yeah, I think this is the last time I do this. Another round of applause, please. Okay, we have now reached a stage where at the beginning, the presentation, we had to make it a little bit faster, simply because we wanted the Right Honorable Prime Minister to leave this venue knowing what is the population. However, at the Statistics Agency, our data is open, it's public, we engage on it. So we have time left before we close our programs past 12, where I will call upon the Deputy Statistician General, Ms. Otilia Mwazi, to just oversee the short discussions, questions, and answers on this census. And the modus operandi is simply that we are going to be showing the presentation, because we could identify that people had a lot of excitement, so that some of the questions or observations can be noted and taken note of. Ms. Mwazi, you have the floor. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Pumbu, the Director of Ceremonies, or the Director of Proceedings. In fact, like we said, it's just an open discussion. Maybe somebody might have specific questions or clarifications. I'm not going to answer all those questions. All NSA teams are here. So I'm just coordinating. If you want to go for us to go to a specific slide, we can also do so. So the floor is open. Maybe you can just raise your hand, introduce yourself, and then you can just seek some clarification. We all remember how the census was undertaken. Dr. Nema had presented that. And then we had a lot of questions. But this one is only some of the variables which we managed to bring out, which we thought of critical importance at this stage while we are finalizing the main report. I hope that way, that mode of operandi will work out. Like I said, feel free, open discussion, clarifications, questions. The floor is open. Can we have the presentation up, please? Just in case.
Good morning. My name is Enos Kamtukwata. I'm from NIPTB. My question is just, what was NSA's projections like in 2011 for this census in terms of just population? Did we like sort of meet the projections, or did we under project, over project? So what was just the projections like in 2011, or just, yeah, in that line?
Okay. Maybe we can take one or two questions. I see also Honorable Minister have his hand up.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Mine is not necessarily a question, but maybe an observation that probably does not require a response now. But if the observation maybe is completely out of order, it may require some kind of advice from the experts that are here present. I noticed the population of some specific constituencies. Very, very, very high population as compared to the other constituencies in that particular region. I have in mind here, for example, Rundu Eben, Khobabes constituency, Katima Mulilo Eben, Outapi, also somehow Ketmanswap. Now, my observation here, I don't know what the findings of the experts were. I think the lesson that I immediately see in there is the issue of rural development in its broader, definition, whether it is helping us in a way to deal in a positive sense with the issue of urbanization or not. I think in the long run, that is the question that needs to be interrogated. For example, Katima Eben constituency, the immediate message is that Katima Mulilo is the only town in the region of Zambezi. Okay, Bukalo is coming up, and maybe some others. In Kavango East, Rundu, and I saw the expansion of Rundu, 15%. It's a worrying thing. People should not just jump and say, oh, Rundu is the most populous, but it's a worrying thing in terms of provision of the services that are required there. The same with Khobabes. If you look at the region of Omaheke, very, very, very vast region, but Khobabes is the only town, so to say. Konene, Ochinene is coming up, but Khobabes is the town. Everybody from Ace Block, from Oshombinde, from where the road is to Khobabes. And somehow it is also the same with Outapi. I don't know Outapi, yes, but I think when I look at Okahao there, I look at Ruakana, I look at this one at the border. I think Shikuku, some towns are coming up. But still, I saw the population is very. So there is just an observation. Maybe some other people may have some others. But it's good to have an overpopulation in the town, particularly when it's a single town, but it's bad also. I see the Minister of Education, who's next to me here, particularly in the case of Rundu, may testify to that. It is depopulation of the rural areas to go to the towns. I'm not saying that we'll stop urbanization, we can't. But are we succeeding with rural development in its broader definition? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for those two questions. Can we handle those two questions for now? My demographers, are they here? Is Ndapandura here? I want to talk to the projections. In fact, the projections, we are actually, the population figure which we just launched today is higher than what we have projected. All right? Because I think at this stage we are supposed to be around 2.6 as a projection, but maybe what I want to highlight is also that our projections, they will be not updated as they're supposed to be. Because we normally, after the census, we do the inter-census demographic survey. So every 5 years, in fact, we're supposed to kind of update with the current figure. But unfortunately, because sometimes we don't have the sufficient funding to undertake all the surveys for us to do to revise the population projections. So that's why we are just now giving it. So, but in fact, it's, the population is higher than what we have projected. All right? Anybody else from NSA would like to add to that? It's a discussion. It's a discussion. I'm not answering the question. I'm just moderating the session. Anybody would like to add anything to that question? All right. I don't see any hand. All right. Regarding the observation from the Honorable Minister, you are correct. We have. And then actually the towns which you have, the constituencies which you have cited, actually that's where the capital centers are. Anybody would like to talk to that? Dr. Nema?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a very important observation from the Honorable Minister. I think what we have indicated from the report is that there's another report, a very important report in terms of people movement, which we call the migration report. That report is going to tell us who is coming to Rundu. They are coming from where? You might be surprised, maybe they are not even coming from Kavango West or Kavango East. Maybe they are coming from Hangwena, I don't know. I'm just saying. So that report is very, very critical, and I think it's a very important observation because it's talk to planning. And it's a question that I think must continue to be asked in terms of when we are producing our statistics to say, are we answering, the development questions? So that report is still coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nema. I recall that when we are discussing, when we are doing the census, the communities or the Namibian population, they want the population to grow. But also growth also comes with responsibilities, right? I think we have also some honorable governors, maybe CROs from those. Anyone would like to come in? Anybody from one of these regions? I saw Msati was here. I think Senja just stepped out. Commerce is also here. Commerce is always growing by day because we are all coming to commerce. Like the chair was saying, we all have two regions. We have where we work, and then we have our original regions. I hope I'm interpreting him correct. Yes. Yeah, but I think the observation, Honorable Minister, is correct, that we need to look at rural development, because normally many people in the deep rural areas, they have a tendency of coming to town because they are hoping to find some jobs. So, but the migration report will also answer to that. Where are these people actually coming from when they are coming to those constituencies? Is there anybody who would like to come in before we go to the next round of questions or interjections? People are quiet. They are just looking at me. They are shocked by the number. I thought they are excited by the number. Some people, they will even think we are supposed to be like 4 million. I'm not sure where it's coming from. Huh? All right, maybe we can then go to any other observation? Okay, there's a hand. Yes.
Thank you. I'm Egidius Nambara from Kavango West region. I just wanted to find out whether the NSA will have regional consultations just to present each region's statistics, and also maybe dwell into some of the findings, because I know there will be questions to be asked by whether it's the communities or stakeholders within our regions. For example, one that I can tell you now is Kurenkuru town. There has been always a debate between NSA and the town of Kurenkuru. Their projection is different from NSA. And looking at the results I saw, Kurenkuru constituency, inclusive of the rural part, is at 15,000, yet above 15,000. Yet Kurenkuru Town Council's projection has been already at 15. So that differences, perhaps if we can have regional consultations and engage.
Right, thank you. We take note. Meana?
Thank you very much, my daughter, Ms. Mazi. Ladies and gentlemen, Deputy Prime Minister, why I was almost close to the number is because I used to observe when I move around schools. Already, I was like, we must be above 3 million already. And I am looking at these figures, page 20. I'm looking at 10 years of age group, 0 to 19 already. You are around, I'm not good at figures, but I'm looking at 1.3, close to 1.4 million already. Currently in our schools, we have got 707 learners, meaning from 0 to 19 now, those that are not in schools are more than 500,000, 533,268. Now maybe if you take out the 0 to 5, 0 to 4, definitely you will still have plus minus 400 who are not in schools. This is just an indication of how much infrastructure development need to happen in this country as soon as possible. In fact, as soon as yesterday. So, if we see schools reopening and there are noises about children cannot be accommodated, I am shocked by these figures. I'm really shocked. One, that's just an observation. The other thing, I have a question for my own education. There is a slogan that data must speak. Data should inform us, but they will only inform us if we can analyze it and especially interpret it to make sense to what different sectors are doing. That interpretation, I know in education we also do our own censuses, education census, 15-day statistics annually. But that one will not help us to do long-term planning. I want to understand how the NSA works with sectors for us to do long-term planning. For me to be able to sit here now that we have got this census, which is the first ever done when I'm a minister, how will it help us to say, in 10 years to come, how many children will we have still? I mean, how many children will be, at least annually, for us to know, how many children will we have that would want to go to pre-primary education? The issue of implementation through clear interpretation of data and forward planning. This is something that really seems not to be forthcoming clearly. Either is the capacity of the planners in our offices, or maybe it's a systemic challenge that really need to be addressed between sectors and the NSA. I so submit, Madam Mazi.
Thank you very much. Should we take the last one? I mean, not the last, but the last for this round from Prof. I see 2 hands. Maybe we can take those 2, and then we can talk to those. I see Prof. Ndongo, and then I think there's also one on the other table after that.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mazi. I must start by saying that the release of the census preliminary result is highly welcome and very important to us, especially from research and institutions of higher education. I must say, with this recent data, work has started for us. And on behalf of the University of Namibia, I express our interest in playing our part in uncovering, unwrapping, and understand the reality behind the number 3 million. We commit to be available to participate or to organize open discussions or round-table discussions to ensure that the statistic is clearly and well understood by even a person at ground level. SG and your team, we from the research institutions eagerly await the release of the main document as well as specific themed reports, because researchers at the institution of higher education will be available to interrogate or probe in detail through scientific publications that will also contribute further to the visibility of Namibia globally. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Ndongo, for that pledge. We have another hand. I think that.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Speaking is Amalia Muhongo, and I'm representing Oshikoto Region, Oshikoto Regional Council. Mine is just an observation to say, previously when the statistics are released or the main reports are released, data is only presented up to the towns. And as a regional council, we have a mandate to develop declared settlements. And it's always a challenge, or we experience a difficulty when we have to provide services to the area of which the population is not published. Maybe it's just a humble request to say, when we see our main report being published, can that provision be made to have population for the population and other statistics for declared settlements, so that we can be able also as a regional council to plan for the population that we know. I so submit.
Okay, thank you very much. We will start from the beginning with what was the interventions or the inputs. Regarding the dissemination, for the preliminary report, we are in fact planning to do also the dissemination at the regional level. Area I have spoken to, we have regional statisticians. They are also here today. And they are going to take it forward to make the presentation and then at the regional level. And then when we talk about Kavango West, the Nkurenkuru town, our population from the census, the population from the town. Number one, what we normally need to look into is the methodology used to collect that data. So that's very critical, and then I believe that will form part of the discussion because we need to understand the methodology used by NSA and then the methodology used by the town council to come up with that data. Lucky enough, they are not far from each other, or maybe that's only part of the town, while the one we present is for the whole constituency, if I got you correct. So I think that discussion probably need to happen. That's the first start. Once we understand the methodology used, then we can start the discussion, and then we can probably understand the differences. I think that's more or less what I wanted, just to briefly talk to the SG. Want to come in on that, at that point? Yeah, you may. We have a mic. Yeah, you can use that one, SG.
Thank you, Deputy SG. I think I just wanted to supplement the other questions and comments that came in. For example, I think the comments from the Honorable Minister of Education on the population of the groups ages of 0 to 9 years. A general comment is that this is really why we produce these statistics for various planning, because you also, I've spoken earlier about the ECN will also need to get figures from the population of 18 years and above. And when the Honorable Minister also asked about the working together with the sectors, we have a concept of NSDS, which is the National Strategy for the Development of Statistics. We are going to work with sectors, and the education is one of the sectors also where we need to work together. We are already working together with the education sector in terms of looking at the school-going censuses, in terms of people registered at the beginning of the year. But now is an opportunity, now that we have now the fresh data from the census, to work together, because this is also in line with what Professor Indongo have mentioned, to work together with the University of Namibia. I always say that we don't collect this data for ourselves. It's really for the users. Even before we put together the questionnaires, we consult widely so that we can ask what are the questions that we need to ask. In fact, when you go to further analysis also, we also consult in terms of tabulation plans that we need to do, because it's no use if you do analysis that are not going to be put to good use. And then finally, on the data up to the town's level, my response, and even settlements, my response to that is that we even go smaller than that, because especially now that it's also a GIS-enabled census, you can draw your polygons and what have you, and even to a point where you can even look at the community around a school, maybe in a specific area. So those analyses are there. We just need to work together so that we can have good, valuable reports. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, SG, for that extra information. I would like actually, Dr. Nema, do you want just briefly talk to us on how the sectors are formed as part of the NSDS? I think that's critical just for people to understand. Do you want to talk to that briefly?
Yeah.
Dr. Nema is a census manager, but actually he's in charge of data quality, but the National Statistical System Coordination. That's why I'm pointing out, because he's working with everyone. That's why I wanted just for him briefly to talk to us how the sectors are being formed. Over to you, Dr. Nema.
Yeah, thank you very much. The sectors are made up of all the key data producers. At this point in time, we are focusing on the heavy data producers like Ministry of Health, OPM, Ministry of Gender, but we are available to assist and help any other sector that is ready for that case. I was just thinking when the point was made to say, can we produce data for those local authorities that have been, smaller ones. I was looking at where is Alex. We have done, this is the digital census, and we are able, definitely, Nevel is even there. We are able to take out to the boundary of your specific area and give you those specific data. That is a good thing about the spatially enabled, census or data collection. So your wish is their command. It can be provided. But from the NSS perspective, we are working with the sectors. We don't have particular interest in any other sector other than those that are coming to us. But we will also be coming to you in the next financial year after the end of March. We'll be coming to all the sectors to look at their interest and take them up in terms of statistical production. The aim is to produce quality statistics in Namibia. I just want to underscore the Prime Minister's speech. There was one key important aspect that comes of it, and that is the administrative data. This data is sitting in our offices, under our cupboards, in our shelf. We want to take them, and so that we can start producing these statistics for you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Nema is like you read what I wanted to give a chance to Alex Mudaveti. He's our executive for GIS. Do you want to add anything before I go to the next round of, maybe just to share with the team what is able to be done? Because like we said, that it's a spatial enabled census, it's a modern census. In fact, the purpose for that is really to overlay whatever any data request you may have. Alex, briefly.
Thank you, DSG. I think for the first time in Namibia, we are going to have very interesting statistics because we can give you statistics for any specialized boundaries. As an example, the population in our communal areas, or population in our commercial areas, population in our townships. We can go to any boundary. Now, what I wanted to just add to Dr. Nema is that the NSA is not only coordinating statistics, it's also coordinating the geographers or the institutions that are dealing with infrastructure such as the locations of schools, the locations of health facilities. Now, those are going to help us with one of the report that is going to come as the basic spatial analysis atlas. We are going to look at the accurate distances between those infrastructures such as schools to the population in terms of proximity. As an example, the coverage of our network from 2G, 3G, 4G, how many people are covered by our network. In terms of the fourth industrial revolution, the fifth industrial revolution, we need network coverage. So we are going to really have interesting statistics because of the method that we use with the census. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. I see there was a hand. Yes, ma'am, you may proceed.
Thank you. Mine is very short and stick to the point. While I'm say thank you for the presentation and for the growth from 2.1 to 3. And while I'm encouraging that we must improve. Yes. and all of us are responsible for the improvement. Mm-hmm. So my question is just very, during the census, what did you experience? What were your challenges during the counting process? Because now and then we saw some videos of farm workers that don't want to cooperate. But in short, what were your challenges during the operations of the census? Thank you.
Right, thank you. There are other two hands on the other side. Oh, yes, we start with Honorable Deputy. I think she can start, since the mic is already next to the table.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Bernadette Yacher, working for the Ministry of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare, with a particular mandate to ensure gender equality, poverty eradication, and socio-economic development for the most needy and vulnerable citizens of these countries. Now, you know, we have the grant system where we deal with grants for children 0 to 18. We stop at 18 with that grant. And then we have 60 and above grant for the old age. And then we deal with people with disability. There's no age restriction, whether it's a child or an elderly person. And then also people from the marginalized communities. There is also no age restriction. But there is a category that is left out in terms of the benefits. That is the category 19 to 59. We stop at 18 for the children, and then we jump to 60 years and above. But now, among this group or this category, we have also vulnerable and needy people, which have not reached. We have women and men. Remember I said gender equality. We have women and men who do not fall under 0 to 18, and they also do not fall under 60 and 70, but they are vulnerable. I've just looked at the document. I can't remember whether I've seen it, but I look at households also. There are households that are headed by men and households that are headed by women, single women who raise their children, but as I said, also under these categories. There is some talks about these categories, 19 to 59. I have seen in this document, I don't know on the slide, but I see the single age that is indicated here. But one would also want to see in future that when the census is done, that this category 19 to 15 is grouped so that we know exactly this is the number, this is the statistics for this category. As you did 0 to 14, you said 15 to 59, etc. I think I saw such a, so that we know exactly this category is this number of people in Namibia. Then we have the marginalized communities. In terms of the benefits, these communities also get a benefit of food. We provide food to these communities on a quarterly basis, but per household. So I have not seen also, as I said, households for men and women. I have also not seen the statistics for households specifically for marginalized communities. I saw a slide that has indicated something on marginalized communities, people with disabilities, but one would like to know exactly how many households are there in the country headed by a marginalized person, whether it's a woman or a man, because that food is not provided per household, the number that is in the household. Even if there are 20 people in that household, we just give one portion or one basket of food per household. So one would also see that in future. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I think there were two other hands.
All right, thank you. My name is Desha Schubert. I'm from NAS. Just an observation from my side, and I'm fortunate to be sitting with the one in charge of statistics. The 3 million, another indicator that I wanted and I would have loved to see, especially at this high level, is the economically active population, because that's a concern a lot for the youth. And if we can present the youth, then we could also probably at that level say how many are employed and how many are unemployed. That will motivate the numbers as we present it. Thank you.
Right, the last hand on this table, and then we can discuss.
Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is John Nakuta. For those of us who are in the human rights space, we are very much concerned about the equitable distribution of resources and opportunities. And I was just wondering whether this preliminary report, like all other census reports, is giving us a breakdown of the size of the various language groups. Because it may be a figment of my imagination, but there are people that feel that certain groups are benefiting more when it comes to opportunities. And so it would be very, very important for us to know, for those of us in the academic space, to know that breakdown of the language group. So my question is this current report giving us a breakdown of the various language groups? Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. I think some of them I can talk to quickly. The last question. Various language groups or reports, that will come for the main report, not for the preliminary. Like we said that for the preliminary, we have only presented on some specific key variables, but the main report is coming because the questionnaire was quite rich. We have about 88 variables. We have a lot of data which is coming your way. That one will come, the one we said that we are going to have it before the end of the year, that will be included. And then that also goes to the question from the colleague from NAST, the economic activities, that also will be also part of the report. And then maybe for this time around, we are also going to have a labor module produced from the census dedicated for that, because you know that we're supposed to undertake labor force on an annual basis. Unfortunately, the funds are not available as much as when they are required. So we have then included some questions in the census. So we are going to have the census report, but we are also going to have a dedicated labor module. Then the economic activities will be then highlighted in that report. And then that report will also come out at the same time with the basic report. All right, that's from NAST, if I get your question correct. Regarding from the marginalized, vulnerable, on gender-related questions, on the grant, we have specific questions for that. All those questions will come, will be addressed in the main report. Regarding the age grouping, I think that's also possible because it's just a matter of run those different tabulation based on those age. We'll be able to provide that. You know that we do the basic report, but later we also do what we call specialized request. If it does not come out, you are welcome to come to us, and then we can generate specific questions. As long as the questions were correct from the census, we are able to give to that. I think that was all. The marginalized community in terms of households, I think we can also be able to do that, but probably goes with the clear definitions. Probably we are going to work closely with the ministry. If it already was not defined in the census as such, then probably you are going to guide us to say this variable covering A, B, C, D should then be part of that marginalized. But we have also some data which can talk to marginalized as well. Because I think in line with no one leave behind, I think that also have guided the question. Disability, all that. We have even specific questions regarding the, what we call Washington disability questions. But I think we should also work closely with the ministry as well. I think that's where the challenges. This one I want to give to maybe one or two regional statisticians. They cannot go without saying anything. They were on the ground, so I thought they are the right person to talk to this question. The question was posed that what type of challenges which we have encountered during the data collection? I'm looking in that corner. I can see the question. Any volunteer? Two also? Regional statisticians, I'm looking at you. Yes. Omaheke? My regional statistician from Maheke would like to come in. Lusa?
Good morning. Thank you, Memwazi. Some of the challenges, specifically,
Can you stand up, please, so that they can also see you? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Rusa, Regional Statistician of Omaheke region. Some of the challenges that we have encountered in Omaheke were locked farm gates, that was one. And the other one was where people were kind of refusing to give information because they were relating it to their safety. They were saying, if I give my information now to this specific person, what if he comes back and robs me? This is now in terms of the asset that these people have, how many people live in that household. Yeah, so those were some of the challenges, and the issue were just because people didn't really understand the importance of census. But however, when we did the publicity, we made people aware and understand, especially the farmers, they were not willing to give opportunity to their farm workers because, as we know, their questionnaire was a bit long, so they didn't want to let the farm workers spend a lot of time with us. But in actual fact, we overcome the challenges.
Thank you. One person, okay?
Good morning. Just in addition to what my colleague has said, I'm Yvonne Makando, the regional statistician for Oshodonjupa. I think you are aware that we had around 3 or 4 strikes in Oshodonjupa during the census. Challenges were mostly on issues pertaining to recruitment. Everyone wanted to be recruited. Those that were not taken in wanted to give, they actually wanted to refuse to give information or influence other community members not to give information because their children are not part of census. But that we managed to work with the community leaders and we got information. The other challenges were issues pertaining to the 750. People gave a reference to that to say, I never got 750. So as long as I didn't receive that, I don't get anything from government. So we had to clarify to say that we need to get this information so that the government will know. They will not know when to bring a school when we don't know how many kids are here. So most of that, it just issues pertaining to educating the community to say, we need to get this information from that. Other than that, there was also the last one, issues pertaining to the marginalized, I'll say in Tsumuka constituency to be specific, where many people wanted to, or the rest of them wanted to be recruited. You would know that the requirements were a bit high as compared to what was, what the people that side have, qualification-wise. But NSA came through and they gave a certain percentage just to lower the standards or lower the requirements so that we could get a specific or few people from the speakers, because though they did not meet the requirements, the standard or general requirement, NSA stepped in to give an opportunity to the marginalized so that they could be part of the project. And in that way, the community was also happy to give information. So there were challenges, but we also had to push through to make sure that we get all the information needed. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes, I remember. I have to go with Yvonne to address the youth in Tsunkwe. They were quite serious. But later we have managed to resolve the issue in a peaceful manner. But really, I think just the situation is just to say that there's a lot of unemployed youth, and then there's also a lot of youth whom they don't have equally opportunities, like they're marginalized. So that's why we have also to make room for them to participate. SG wanted to come in, I think, on the language.
Yes, Mr. Nakuta, we did address the language groups this time around. We did, those statistics are there because we also wanted to have the dynamics of the population. We have those questions. And then a general response also to that on questions that I ask is that if you want to have an indication of what are the other statistics that are there, you just need to look at the questionnaire or remember what the questions were asked, because you cannot have a survey. Each and every question in the survey needs to serve a purpose. So all those information are there, and it's good that the Deputy Statistician General spoke about specialized requests that we can also address. Thank you.
All right, I'm informed by the Director of Ceremonies that our time is up. I just want to say thank you for your participation. Consultations is good. We are continuing. Do you have one last? I can see there's one last before. Oh. Tabitha, is that you or is for this? Oh, maybe let's start with the guest first. Municipality.
Oh, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm Fanny Olmanda from the city of Windhoek. Yeah, just to reflect on the figures that we received, we are actually appreciative of all the efforts, NSA, all the stakeholders that played a role. For us, the figure means everything. We started digesting the statistical figures that we received now, and we can see the growth trend of commerce. When we look at commerce, we reflect with all the regions. What we have picked is that when you look at the other regional dynamics, because they have a bearing on commerce, and also what it also means is to say, for government, or what these figures mean, is to say national government, as we all digest the figures, we needed to really drill deeper and say, what does it mean in terms of resource distribution? For us as a commerce region, and the city of Windhoek in particular, we sit with our biggest informal settlement. I know Rundu is the second biggest town in the country. As the Deputy Prime Minister had indicated, it overtook Walvis Bay. But then the gap between Rundu and Windhoek, was 5 times. It's 5 folds. That is a gap that we share between the two of us. But then again, inside Windhoek, our biggest concern is our informal settlement. Our biggest informal settlement was bigger than Rundu. Now, when we looked at the constituencies, the Samora Machel constituency, it was at 90,000. Then that 90,000 that you get, predominantly around 80,000, is one informal settlement. That is the biggest informal settlement in the country. And then we know for the country now to do the upgrading of the informal settlement, the eradication, our own calculation for Windhoek alone, it was around $5 billion that we need to put on the table. And we are also informed that we see the growth trends. We're just reflecting on the figures also to say, I think we indicated 2017 that we had breached that 50% urban, 50% rural. But then what we get from the preliminary results now is to say urban is 49%. But when we look at the growth rate, we already know by where we are now, which is 2024, we had already breached that 50%. Then we remind ourselves what we are dreaming of in Vision 2030, which is to say about 75% of the population of the country should be urbanized. What it means is now to say the resource distribution. As the population grows, the allocation of resources should be timed in such a way that as we urbanize, the urban population or the living condition in the urban area is of such a nature that we try to stabilize that particular, we don't stabilize the growth actually. The resource distribution that we do is in such a way that we have equitable growth, if I put it that way. Because what we are looking at is to say the population cannot grow, but at the same time we have the growth of the urban poor. That is what makes countries become ungovernable, cities become ungovernable. So we are trying to say now the statistics has gone the way. The resources should follow the statistics. I think all in all for Windhoek, that's what we wanted to indicate. But also just the last one in terms of the national observations, we were looking at the population pyramid. It remains bloated at the bottom, which is a good thing. And we also know that we have useful population. Of course, we are going to have people that are going to come or step up in terms of the leadership. We know the future of the country is all in order. But then we wait for the main report when we distribute now or we split it to rural and urban. Because from the last census we saw there were more in rural areas. And then we look at the sex ratio, the slide that was also presented, where we have seen the dwindling numbers of men as they reach pension, but we know some of them are here in Windhoek. We had the regional slide, the growth trend, because we normally used to spend a lot of time to look at who came from where to come to Windhoek. Also each town, we know they do the same, but then that also is also important to say we also go for growth centers. We strengthen, as a country, we strengthen the growth of the growth centers in each region. And then the other issue of the household size. So all in all, we can say the figures we're so much waiting for the figures, because so long we have been working with projections. When you project beyond 10 years, you also start to become unsure yourself. So I think just all in all is to say thank you. It was good effort. The special enabled component of the statistics, we have waited for this now, it's over a decade. It's finally here. Where you can do those polygons wherever you want them. We just want to commend NSA, the government, all the stakeholders, for us to have reached this milestone. It was a long way coming, but it's here, and thank you.
All right, thank you very much, thank you. I think we have one from Tabitha, then we close the session. Oh, Prof. Okay, I give a special for Prof, because he's the last one. Tabitha come in, and then Prof, and then we then close the session. I'm reminded by the Director of Ceremonies. The time is out.
Yes, Ms. Mwazi, I just wanted to speak to the challenges. One of the challenges I think that was not spoken to is the issue of non-adherence to the Statistics Act, in that the public assumed that the NSA was collecting statistics for themselves. But they don't know that the NSA is mandated to collect statistics. And the issue of racism that was experienced in the field during collection, in that we still have racism being experienced in the country. And we really thank the Namibian police that they assisted the NSA to resolve some of those issues that are speaking to racism, non-adherence to the Statistics Act, and I think that is something that the NSA has overcome very well. And the Act also mandates the NSA to either prosecute anybody, whether it's the public, whether it's the NSA employees being the enumerators, if they don't adhere to the Act. But the NSA actually managed very well not to have any incidents where people were prosecuted or taken to task. But we thank the Namibian police and all the other law enforcement agencies that really worked closely with the NSA during the census to ensure that some of these issues were then sorted out and that the Act was complied to. Thank you.
Thank you, Tabitha. Tabitha is from our legal department at NSA. You can tell, right? She works with the law to ensure that we comply with the law. Okay, Prof.
I prefer to be called Alfred. That's really good enough. Yes, I resisted the temptation of responding to Honorable Mutora's remark. And then the gentleman from municipality actually made it impossible for me to keep quiet. Okay. 2014, we did research on the issues that both of them have touched on. And there is a theory that says if your country is evenly developed, then, okay, in Namibia, he referred to that. The largest town is Windhoek, then Rundu, then Walvis Bay, then Swakopmund, then Oshakati, in that order, okay, in terms of population. The theory says if your country is evenly developed, then the population of the second largest town must be approximately half of the largest town. We all together? So if Windhoek's population is about 400,000, then Rundu should be about 200,000. This is what it says. Then Swakopmund, Walvis Bay, should be a third that of Windhoek. So what actually happens in the case of Namibia, that Rundu is supposed to be the 5th largest town if we use the theory. So which means there are 3 missing towns in Namibia. That's what our research showed 2014. There are 3 missing towns, and what is the reason for that is I don't think we have done much to change the structure of our economy when we got independent. We left it the way it is when the way the colonialists set it up. So we just continued working like that not knowing we're on the wrong path. So theory then says, why do people flock to towns? It is in search of the modern amenities. Our brothers that live in Kivukiland somewhere and have to dig holes to get water have got the same right to drink potable water like ourselves that live in town. They have that right. But we haven't addressed that in our national planning. This is why everybody's flocking to towns to have the same thing. They have that right too. Okay, so we went further than that and said, okay, if we don't change this current structure of the economy, what will happen? People flock to towns in search of jobs, in search of modern amenities. And I say this, if my family doesn't have food for today, and not even an idea where they can get food 3 days from now, and I see you driving a fancy car in town, or break into your house. You understand what I'm saying? This is why the crime rate has gone up. It's exactly because of that. We haven't put in enough effort, and we didn't have enough foresight to address those things before they spiral out of control. So the call is, probably let's look at those issues and take resources to rural areas so that we can stem the influx. That is the only way. And the other theory says towns don't just jump up like that. This theory is by an American professor, Paul Krugman. It's called location theory. Towns don't just jump up like that. People settle in a given area because of specific things. So what then we suggested in that research of ours is that there's a lot of timber in Kavango. I don't know whether that is west or east. I'm not sure. I cannot remember. Both of them. And this has actually a political, it's a political byproduct that we can get from that. If we say, the theory then said, if we make Rundu the capital city of Namibia's timber industry, because the timber is there, then someone will come from Karasberg, go to Rundu, because the industry of East Indres, the capital city is in Rundu. Okay? We make Keetmanshoop the capital city of Namibia diamond industry. I have no idea why diamond have to come to Windhoek when they actually have found it in Keetmanshoop. We haven't changed the structure of economy. Okay? This is really what we are trying to say. If we don't put in efforts, what will happen? Crime will spiral. I've forgotten the political byproduct. Actually, when people now flock to specific towns, because those are the areas of their economic interest, that is the best way of nation building. Because the bond between people won't be racial-based, ethnic-based, will be business interest-based. Thank you.
Okay. I think Prof have just expanded what has been discussed. Thank you very much for that. We come to the end of the session. You have been quite a good audience. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you.
All right, thank you. A round of applause for Memwazi and yourselves too. All right. Yeah, statistics always bring a lot of interesting things because everybody looks at it from their own angles and the data is there, however you use it. So now we are headed towards the end of our program. Before that, I just want to alert you that after the vote of thanks, we are going to have the AU national anthems, and thereafter, I think you all received a ticket. Then there are refreshments available at the restaurant for all of us. And before we do that, you know that must always appreciate people's efforts to get us where we are. And there's none better to do that than our Executive for Human Resources, Ms. Lungi Mareka. Please come to the front, madam.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies. Madam Sarah Kokongelo Madila, Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Namibia, the Deputy Prime Minister as well, and I just want to say I want to stand on the protocol already observed, because you know that there's been quite a lot of speakers who have really come through with very good points before us. So I want to just start by saying that in Africa we have a proverb that says that if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go further or a long way ahead, then you need to go with others. This has been such an example of that, that proverb as we are talking now about the preliminary results that we are presenting. So on behalf of Namibia Statistics Agency, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for gracing us with your presence to the launch of the preliminary report of the 2023 census. We have indeed traveled a long journey, but we are also quite grateful that we find ourselves in this spot today. In particular, as you heard that I'm from HR, people are my people that I really want to appreciate. In particular, I want to just really raise a flag and a great level of gratitude for our staff members at Namibia Statistics Agency, all of our colleagues. These people have really been so resilient and tenacious in ensuring that we come to this report that we are finding ourselves presenting here today. So I really would like to ask for a round of applause for all of our team members, because they've really worked very hard. I do say well done to all of our team members, because I know the days were long, the nights were long, and here we find ourselves today. So we are grateful for that, for those that are here and also those that are not amongst us. Our sincere appreciation also goes out to all the individuals who have shown dedication and worked tirelessly behind the scenes to bring this event to fruition, from the meticulous planning and coordination to the diligent analysis of data. Your unwavering commitment has been instrumental in making the launch today a success. We also want to mention specifically also Mr. Stephen Luendo, who has also assisted in the data processing as a consultant at NSA, because all of this would not have been possible. We also extend our deepest gratitude to the NSA for their exemplary leadership and expertise. Allow me to brag. I always say at NSA we have the best expertise. We have most dedicated people that you'll ever meet. You just have to keep looking out for all the reports that we are bringing out to really appreciate the level of expertise that we have at our disposal. So the unwavering and dedication of upholding high standards of data collection, analysis, and dissemination has ensured a reliable and integrous insight of this report that you're going to experience. Our heartfelt thanks also go out to the countless enumerators and field supervisors and support staff who navigated every corner of our nation, braving challenges and obstacles to collect the vital data from the communities that are far and wide. I think this point has been made quite a bit to say that the country is wide and vast, but our field staff members have really persevered. So your hard work and dedication have been essential in capturing the rich diversity and complexity of Namibia's population. We are immensely grateful to the communities and households across Namibia who graciously participated in Census, opening their doors and sharing their stories. Your willingness to engage in this national endeavor is a testament to your commitment to building a better future for our country. On our own as NSA, we would have not managed to pull off this enormous exercise. And to our esteemed stakeholders as well, there are not enough words that can express our profound gratitude and appreciation for the massive contribution and critical support to this project that you have brought forth. We want to thank the following. We would like to thank the government of the Republic of Namibia for availing the funds, staff, as well as resources. We want to say thank you profusely for that. We thank UNFPA, who played an important role from funding, availing your staff members, and to resources as well. We truly appreciate your contribution. We also want to say thank you to MTC, who availed the SMS platform every Sunday for 6 months for free for NSA to convey the census messages. We are indeed grateful for all of these contributions. We also would like to say NSA is also grateful to the United Nations National Economic Commission of Africa, who provided us with the tablets and technical expertise in the area of IT, as well as Statistics South Africa and the National Statistics of the United Kingdom. We also want to thank the Ministry of Works and Transport for availing over 101 vehicles to the census. Also, the boat in Zambezi that transported our enumerators. We also want to thank the Ministry of Environment for also availing the helicopter that was used in the Ikunene region. We would also like to thank our board of directors for their leadership throughout this time. Equally also the leadership within the NSA. We also would like to express our gratitude to our esteemed guests, stakeholders, and partners from government agencies, civil society organization, academia, and the private sector. Your presence here today underscores the importance of collaboration and collective action in harnessing the power of data to drive positive change. Last but not least, we extend our sincere thanks to all the attendees for your active participation and engagement in today's event. Your presence, insight, and feedback are invaluable as we embark on the next chapter of our journey on leveraging the findings of the 2020 census to inform policy, drive innovation, and to improve the lives of all Namibians. So in closing, let us carry forward the spirit of collaboration, innovation, and dedication that has characterized the 2023 census. Again, I do say that if we want to go far, we go as a team, as a nation. Thank you.
All right, yeah, this is now really the last time. Another round of applause. Okay, may we please rise for the AU and national anthems?
Let us all unite and celebrate together the victories won for our liberation. Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together.
round of applause to all of us, and